Well, if we're going to talk about ADAS, then of course we have to talk about dash cams, but this time maybe not from the brand that you expect. In fact, this is Kenwood's take on a brand new suite of dash cameras that really cover it all. And today we're going to uncover all the great features that make these new Kenwood dash cams a great option. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Kenwood dash cams. And it starts now. What's going on, guys, and welcome to another CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and you are locked into CMA Networks, where we talk about mobile electronics day in and day out. We've landed on the category known as ADAS, and within this category, of course, we have to talk about dash cams. Well, you are no stranger to the fact that there are a ton of different dash cam offerings on the market. Well, Kenwood, yes, one of our favorite, Japanese manufacturers, has come to the table with a brand new offering with different bundles at different price points. To help us on this journey is their product specialist, Kelvin, joining us today. Kelvin, what are we going to be talking about on today's show?
As always, thanks for the introduction, Ben. And today we're going to be going through our line of dash cameras. More specifically, the new, or what we refer to as the Mach 2 versions of our dash cameras.
Oh, I love Mach 2. It's very top gunny. Great job. Can't wait to get into it with you, Kelvin. But first, an opportunity for our partner, SiriusXM, to remind you guys out there why it's always a great attachment sale. And when we come back, let's get into the new dashcam family from Kenwood. We'll see you after the break.
Hey, Paul here with SiriusXM, and I'd like to talk to you about attachment selling and why the SiriusXM product is one of the best things to add, especially since we don't trade dollars with any other category. I could go through all of this, but let's hear what some of our dealers have to say.
It's an easy add-on that takes, 10, 15 minutes if we're running an antenna, 1 minute if we've got an adapter to plug it into the factory SiriusXM antenna, and it's extra money, so no brainer.
I present it to every customer because a lot of customers don't know what all they can do with Sirius. They don't know what all content they could have. It just makes too much sense not to sell it.
It creates a different customer loyalty and customer security when you explain to them why it's a better experience. Just gets them good back in the door. And then the next car, they're already asking for it again. So it just keeps selling itself. It makes more sense.
Well, there you have it. You heard from our dealers. Just remember some of the best practices. Make sure you have one on display so you can demo it. Make sure you're taking advantage of our rewards program, because if you're not taking advantage of that, you're leaving even more money on the table. Make sure you got our POP up on display. And other than that, just make sure you're recommending it.
And welcome back to the show, and welcome to our good friend Kelvin from Kenwood. Thanks for joining us. Now, Kelvin, we have spent a lot of time talking about all the different offerings from Kenwood this year, from marine audio to car audio, and now we've landed on a ADAS category. So you mentioned earlier this is Mach 2. See, for many who may not know, dash cams is not a new category for Kenwood, is it?
Correct. So this series does have a predecessor. We refer to it as the Mach 1. But the new series, or this new line of dash cameras we'll be talking about today, is the new and improved versions of that series. So Mach 2.
Very, very, very cool. So let's get into it. Let's break it out. Overall, from what I can see here, basically the way that Kenwood has bundled their dash cam offering is in three kind of levels. Call it a good, better, best. Call it a 1, 2, 3, however you want to break that out. And these are obviously going to be at different price points with different features. So our job today, Calvin, is to uncover exactly what each feature is and what you get as you kind of climb the ladder as far as the price and features combined. So why don't you take it away? Let's start with the entry level. This is kind of like the base level, right? And it's called the DRV A310W.
Yeah, absolutely. So the A310, as we refer to it internally, is going to be our entry level camera. However, that is by no means saying that it's a bad camera. Once you get into this line, the first thing that you're going to get is a full HD resolution on that front channel. Now, the DRV A310W is a standalone camera. However, it does have the capabilities of being paired with a rear camera. Now, what that means is that if you have a customer that just wants a camera for front facing for now, but later changes their mind, this camera can encompass a rear solution. So it is completely attachable later on.
So let's go over some of the basic features that we would expect to see even at the entry level at this DRV A310, right? So you mentioned this is upgradable to a 2-channel system later on, and we're going to get into what that camera option is. What other features do we want to take a note that out of the gate, no matter which model you choose, you're going to benefit from?
So, I mean, that's an excellent question. And we're very proud of the fact that out of the gate, you get just about every single feature. Really, the biggest stepping stones in the lines or the models is going to be resolution. However, even at an entry level point, you get motion sensing on that front channel. If you add that rear channel, that also will do motion sensing.
Also,
There
two
is
channel motion sensing.
correct, yes, front
Interesting.
and rear.
Okay.
And that's for all of them. So, um, moving on from that, though, like it also includes a three-axis G sensor. So what that means is whenever, like, if in the event of a collision from any angle, you are covered, and what it's going to do is it's going to save the previous 15 seconds and then add an additional 15 seconds. So you get a nice
Ah.
30-second clip to be able to see what occurred in that instance.
So when you're talking about that, you mentioned the gyro, the G sensor.
Yep.
What about anything with regards to installation? Are these come with like a cigarette plug? What are the options here before we go any further?
So there is a cigarette plug included in the install or in the package. So as soon as you open it out of the box, you can plug it in and get power. However, we do offer a external or sold separately hardwire solution. That's the CADR 1130. Now, the reason that's so important is because it opens up a few more features that are important, such as that aforementioned parking mode. So
Mm.
the parking mode or the motion sensing will not work without that hardwire solution. And on top of that, that 1130 has the ability to monitor voltage of the vehicle. So what that means is if it ever goes below 11.8 volts, it's going to cut power to the camera so that the customers can turn their vehicle on in case of an emergency.
Yeah, I would say that's kind of an important feature. You don't want it's great to have the feature, but if it drains all your battery and you can't start the car, what's the point? So very, very
Exactly.
cool. And just to be clear, these features that we mentioned, the built-in three-axis G sensor, the voltage protection, the sensors, this is all capable on all three models that we're going to be talking about today, including the entry.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, very, very cool. So that was the first model, which is the entry point, the DRV A310W. As we step up, I have a feeling, like you mentioned, there's going to be some resolution improvements here. Talk to us about the DRV A510 and some of the differences maybe in the bundling between the US and and Canadian markets.
So moving on to the 510 is going to be an upgrade in resolution. So what that really means is for this particular camera, there is a boost. It's not a very big boost all the way up to 4K because that's reserved for the next camera. However, it's somewhere in between full HD and 4K. We refer to it as quad HD. Now, in the US market, this solution comes bundled with a rear camera. However, for our friends in Canada, it is sold separately.
All right, so it's obviously clear that as we go up in ranks, we're going to get better performance, especially in the resolution. What I am impressed so far is, that base set of features is pretty strong, even at the entry level. So, if you want the high resolution, and of course there are benefits to high resolution, you're going to spend a little bit more money, hence going up to the 510. Now, I want the best, right? I want the best resolution. I want all the features because that's just the way I am. Let's take a closer look at the top of the line offering here. It's called the DRV A610 WDP. This is a bundle package, again, with some benefits here. So why don't you break it down for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So the DRV A610 is the cream of the crop. So one thing that I may not have mentioned earlier is that all of these cameras are going to share a very similar form factor when it comes to the body. However, where the 610 shines the best is that 4K increased resolution. Now, one of the things that I will mention is that this does come paired with a rear camera solution that you see here. However, it's very different from the one that is compatible with the 510 and the 310 in the sense that that rear camera is going to be a standard HD resolution in the rear, whereas the camera that comes with the 610 and only works with the 610 is a quad HD solution. So you've got amazing resolution on both the front and the rear channels.
All right, so just a quick summary if you're just tuning in. We're talking about the brand new suite of dash cams coming to you from Kenwood. Three different models to choose from: a 310, a 510, and a 610. You mentioned all the standard features, which is great. The resolution improvements as you go up the line, Kelvin. One thing I just want to repeat: hardwire kit is available, guys, and this is definitely the route you want to go if you're installing this for a customer. The model number is CADR1130. That is the hardware kit. And again, like Kelvin said, you need the hardwire kit to access the security features, the gyro, the voltage protection, all that type of stuff. Did I get that right? Did I summarize that pretty good?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, the other thing to take note of, if you're in the US and you want to add a secondary camera to the 310 package, making it a 2-channel setup, you can get that as a separate camera and add it too. If you're in Canada, both the 310 and the 510 is an option to add a second cam. The only difference being in the US, they decide to bundle the 510 with the camera. And in Canada, the 510 is a standalone. But of course, you can add that camera to it to make it a 2-channel. All right. The last thing we want to go through is to complete this whole camera dialogue is that Kenwood offers some CMOS rear cameras as well for backing up. So why don't you tell us about those?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's really three options when it comes to the CMOS line. That's going to be the CMOS 230 LP, the CMOS 320 LP, and the CMOS 740 HD LP. Now, with these different cameras, there does come a slight increase in resolution. However, the cream of the crop, as we were talking about earlier, is going to be that CMOS 740 HD. Now, this HD camera is only compatible with Kenwood HD units. However, it provides a very super clear picture to these compatible source units. Now, where it's slightly different, though, is that it's only compatible with the front and rear channels of these source units. Just something to be aware of.
Just a quick note on those CMOS rear units. There is a little bit of difference between the Canadian and US markets on those ones, whereas in the US, those rear camera units actually come with the license plate trim. And a little detail for their Canadian dealers and customers, the license plate adapter trim is sold separate. So just make sure you bundle those together appropriately. I want to take this opportunity and thank my guest today, Kelvin De Leon Rivera, for coming in and talking to us about the brand new dash cam offering from Kenwood. If you want to find out more, head on over to kenwood.com. Now, I really like the way they bundled this. I think it's very smart, a good, better, best. It's not complicated. If you're going to offer dash cams to your customers, especially if you're a car audio shop, then why not offer them a brand that they already trust and recognize? Kenwood, obviously, as an electronics manufacturer, has a great reputation. I have no doubt in my mind that these are going to work flawlessly. The one thing that we didn't mention that is probably pretty cool for you guys out there as far as the end user experience is concerned, one of the things that was a little bit not a problem, but certainly needed some improvement was the updating. These new systems actually update over the air. So no more taking out the SD card, going to your computer, so on and so forth. Any updates with regards to software will be done over the air, making it super efficient to update either at the installation time or even afterwards. Well, that's it for this CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.